Good morning, church, or good afternoon, good evening, whichever applies to you. Welcome to this new week of our Take 5 Bible reading plan. If any of you don't know me, my name is Dan. This week I have the privilege of talking to you from the book of Psalms again. We're going to be carrying on from where Sam left off back in August, and today we're going to be looking at Psalm 87. I'll just read it for you now. You'll notice when I read it that it is clearly set out into three separate parts. It's only a short psalm, 7 verses, so we're going to look at the whole psalm. I'm reading from the New Living Translation today. On the holy mountain stands the city founded by the Lord. He loves the city of Jerusalem more than any other city in Israel. O city of God, what glorious things are said of you. So that's the first part. And then the second part, it goes on to read, I will count Egypt and Babylon among those who know me, also Philistia and Tyre, even distant Ethiopia. They have all become citizens of Jerusalem. Regarding Jerusalem, it will be said, everyone enjoys the rights of citizenship there, and the Most High will personally bless this city. When the Lord registers the nations, he will say, they have all become citizens of Jerusalem. So that's the second part. And then the third part is just one verse. It goes on to say, the people will play flutes and sing, the source of my life springs from Jerusalem. So that's a really nice short psalm. So I did a little bit of research about it just to get some background. And it's written by the sons or the descendants of Korah. Back then in the time of David, they were musicians. They were in charge of everything to do with the praise and worship, but they were also tasked with keeping the entrance of the tabernacle where the Ark of the Covenant was kept. So they had some pretty important roles, so they were obviously thought of quite highly. So moving on to the first part of the psalm, there's a couple of points that I picked up in this. The first point really is that the whole section is generally just talking about the glory that is associated with Jerusalem, and just trying to get the point over to us how much God loves Jerusalem. You know, this is his holy city that he founded for his chosen people. And right at the beginning in verse 1 it says, on the holy mountain stands the city founded by the Lord. And that almost infers that God chose to build Jerusalem on the mountain because it was holy. But that's not actually the case, because I discovered that there was nothing holy about the Judean mountains before God built Jerusalem on them. They became holy, and then they were referred to as being the holy mountains because God had built Jerusalem in the mountains. So because God built because God built Jerusalem in the mountains, that is what made the mountains holy, which I thought that was a really interesting point. And then when we move on into the second part, I will count Egypt and Babylon among those who know me, also Philistia and Tyre and even distant Ethiopia. They have all become citizens of Jerusalem. And what I really like about this is it's talking almost prophetically to a time in the future, and it is explaining God's wider plan for salvation for mankind. Because back then, Jerusalem was just associated with God's chosen people, with the Jews, with his holy people, and not of the Gentiles. But this part of the psalm here is looking forward into the future, where and we know that it was fulfilled in the New Testament when Jesus commissioned his disciples to go out and make disciples of all nations. So it's saying all nations are going to be included in Jerusalem. He was foreseeing when people were going to be born again, and then counted as being citizens of the new Jerusalem, of the Jerusalem in the future. So I just thought that was a really cool point as well. And then the last verse really is just about the people celebrating this fact, celebrating the glory that is associated with Jerusalem, celebrating the fact that many nations are going to come under the banner of Jerusalem. Yeah, and just really celebrating that, which is a really nice way to end the psalm, and a nice way for me to end too. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will look forward to coming and speaking with you again tomorrow. Have a great day. God bless.